Guess who's back? Back again. The Sunday missed news list. It is back. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here's this week's 10 wrestling news stories that you might have missed. And hey, while I hope that you all watch this video until the very end and comment under this video telling me how I've got a lovely smile, I'd also love you if you checked out another one of the videos we got on the channel about how Roman Reigns isn't working. Oh, that's a hot little take, isn't it? Because some people think Roman Reigns is working. But what if he's not? Did you think about that? Did you? Idiot. Number 1, Marco Stunt calls Christian Cage name drop kind of lame. 2022 has been a year of changes for AEW, with one of their EVPs, Cody Rhodes, jumping ship to WWE, and various year one stars having their deals expire, such as Joey Janela and Stu Grayson. One of those AEW originals who left the company is Marco Stunt, who was a popular part of the Jurassic Express trio with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and got his ass handed to him by Lance Archer in a fantastically entertaining squash match. 2021 saw the group welcome Christian Cage into their ranks and slowly move Stunt out. Speaking with NBC Sports Boston, Stunt discussed the recent feud between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, stating that he didn't know his name was going to be mentioned in Christian's recent promo towards Luchasaurus. Stunt went on to say, "I was not aware that it was going to be said or anything. For them to do it in that context, I thought it was kind of lame." I mean, it makes sense though in a way. I was part of that group before him. What he's basically saying is he came in and got me fired. So in a story sense, love it. In a real life sense, hey, it is what it is, I guess. Number 2, HBK and Bruce Pritchard still in charge of NXT. The black and gold era fans of NXT were pleased to hear about the news of Triple H being back at the Performance Center recently. The rebrand of the developmental territory to 2.0 hasn't created a lot of optimism amongst the fan base, despite some bright spots like Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker. Despite the game coming back though, PW Insider reports that NXT Creative has remained unchanged, with Bruce Pritchard and Shawn Michaels still in charge of the booking of the show, along with Brother Love and HBK. Johnny Russo, no relation to Vince, we promise, is the head writer, with Nick Bonanno and George Carroll rounding out the team, so please don't hold your breath for a return to the PWG-style takeover events anytime soon. Number 3, Park to defend All-Atlantic title in OTT Wrestling. If you're worried about the AEW All-Atlantic Championship not being featured on television since Park became inaugural champion at Forbidden Door, don't worry, we all are. There is light at the end of the tunnel though. It was announced this week that Park will defend the gold outside of All Elite Wrestling. First, the defends against Johnny Moxley's Japanese young boy slash son Shota Umino for Revolution Pro Wrestling on July 10th. If he retains there, Pac will then defend the title for Over the Top Wrestling at their Poetry Slam event against LJ Cleary on July 22nd. This will mark Pac's return to OTT for the first time since 2019. Hooray for the traveling champion. Number 4, original Undisputed Era plans. Now that 3 of the 4 members of the former Undisputed Era are in All Elite Wrestling, it's easy to look back on their run and dissect it for what could have been. On the latest Kurt Angle show, Adam Cole Baby appeared as special guest and discussed the original plans for the faction. Originally, WWE were adamant Adam Cole about Yui being just Cole, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish before Fish went down with an injury and Roderick Strong was suggested as a 4th member. All 3 men felt Strong was the exception to the rule, saying, "The 3 of us were kind of off to ourselves. We said to ourselves, I know we said we don't want anyone else in the group, but Roderick Strong would be perfect," citing the fact that we're all buddies with him. WWE apparently felt that if they can add Roddy, they might be able to add others, but the company left the final decision to the group, who always turned down the idea, feeling that Strong was the only exception to that rule, thankfully for all of us fans. Number 5, why Logan Paul is a babyface. This may shock you, but people don't really like Logan Paul. A lot of this is down to his YouTube exploits of the past or ostentatious displays of wealth like that Pokemon thing. Seems consistent with how wrestling fans feel towards him as well. However, WWE decided to have The Miz turn on Paul to position him as a babyface after their WrestleMania 38 tag team victory. After the big news of Paul signing a contract with the company, Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio revealed that the reason why Logan Paul is being booked as a babyface is because he apparently is calling the shots in his dealings with WWE and wants to be presented as a good guy, because the promotion and Paul can totally dictate how the fans will react to him. Although, to be fair, he was really good in that WrestleMania match, so who knows. Number 6, Montez Ford on Street Profits split. In the latest example of WWE telling, not showing, commentary has been driving home the story of the Street Profits having issues despite no evidence to such on television in their interactions. Many have speculated this to set up the story of Montez Ford, for whom the company has big plans, breaking out on his own. Speaking with Wrestling Inc.'s Nick Hausman during Money in the Bank weekend, Ford talked about some of his singles aspirations, saying, "If the draft happens and we're forced to go our separate ways, we're definitely going to keep that support there, keep bringing it 100%. I know, as a kid, speaking for myself, I've always had dreams of being a WWE World Champion." Us too, Montez. Us too. Number 7, comments on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon meeting. Speaking of Money in the Bank weekend, WrestleVotes report that WWE held a meeting with all the talent run by interim CEO Stephanie McMahon, with Triple H and Nick Khan present. The meeting was generally well received by everyone. According to PW Insider, this was more or less a rah-rah meeting about WWE being one big family, following the allegations against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, but with no new ground being shed on those developments. Stephanie reassured everyone that her door is always open, while Triple H confirmed that he is back full-time in the company. According to Fightful, Steph, Hunter, and Nick Khan are all well liked by talent, with Stephanie being outright adored. I mean, considering her on-screen character, those are two words you wouldn't expect to be put with Stephanie McMahon, but happy to hear it. Number 8, Death Before Dishonor announcement. Just when you thought there was going to be a break for AEW affiliated pay-per-views, Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor is right around the corner on July 23rd from Lowell, Massachusetts. This will mark the first Ring of Honor major event that will air live on All Elite Wrestling's American pay-per-view provider, Bleacher Report Live. According to Andrew Zarian on Wrestling Observer Live, the announcement for Death Before Dishonor came after a source told them that Warner Bros. Discovery would love more AEW pay-per-views. Zarian speculated Death Before Dishonor streaming on Bleacher Report could be a sign Tony Khan and Warner's have struck a television or streaming deal for ROH. I don't know this, but I wouldn't be shocked if there was an announcement at the pay-per-view. Good news across the board for both AEW and ROH, with Warner seeing long-term growth in the promotion. Number 9, Buff Bagwell Twitter controversy revealed. Judy Bagwell's baby boy Buff Bagwell has seen some growth on his social media imprint over the last year, with some glowing remarks towards AEW and an overall change in his previously dated viewpoints. However, Bagwell started trending this week after it was revealed the wrestler was not the person posting wrestling opinions or pro-LGBTQ+, as well as other progressive messages that made his Twitter account quite popular. This came out after fans weren't receiving merchandise they had paid for. Also, the person running the account and Buff's merch operation, an associate Buff identified as Michael Long, is allegedly a registered sex offender, so this has taken a little bit of a turn, and Buff apparently is not in fact the stuff. And number 10, Big E neck update. So let's end with some positive news. Big E is obviously one of the most beloved figures in all of wrestling today. It broke everyone's heart to see the former WWE champion suffer a serious neck injury in a tag team match on the March 11th edition of SmackDown. After news that he fractured his C1 vertebrae and C6 vertebra, improvement has been seen, with E removing his neck brace and throwing it in the trash on Instagram recently. Now, after receiving well wishes from superfan Jesse Davin, Big E responded with a further update showing, "Look at my neck, look what the neck can do." He further updated everyone with the good news in a tweet saying, "Update, my C1 isn't ossifying, forming bone, quite yet. The current plan is to get more scans at the 1-year mark and see how it's progressing. The great news is I feel tremendous and surgery is off the table." Wonderful, wonderful news. Love you, Big E. And that's our list. What's been your favorite bit of wrestling news from this week? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to WrestleTalk for more up-to-the-minute wrestling news. And never forget to jam that jam.